If you're going through a period of solitude that feels strange, heavy, or even unfair, take a deep breath. This is not a punishment. On the contrary, it's a calling. The chosen ones do not experience solitude by chance. They are led into it because there is something within them that needs to be awakened, away from noise, away from distractions, and away from other people's expectations. Solitude is the place where God works in silence. Most people believe that being alone is a sign of rejection. But for the chosen ones, solitude is a field of spiritual training. It's in isolation that the mind sharpens, the spirit purifies, old wounds rise to the surface to be healed, and dormant gifts finally awaken. Solitude does not weaken you. It reveals you. Only those who have been separated from the ordinary know how deeply this process transforms. There are powers that only emerge when no one else is around to interfere. When you stop depending on the world to hold yourself up, when you learn to listen to your own soul, when you face silence without running from it, something new is born. That's why so few understand the chosen ones. Because most people have never been alone long enough to discover who they truly are. But you were called for more. You were led into the desert to receive what could not come to you in any other way. Today, we are going to talk about these 7 secret powers that are born in silence. Powers that distinguish the chosen ones from 80% of people. If you identify with any of them, it's because this message is for you. It's because heaven is training you. Shall we begin? Power 1. A calm mind amidst chaos. There is a kind of calm that only arises when someone spends enough time in solitude to understand their own thoughts. The chosen ones know this calm well. It doesn't come from an easy life, but from direct confrontation with emotions, fears, and memories that have been buried for years. When the world goes silent, the Spirit speaks. And when the Spirit speaks, the mind begins to organize itself. Most people seek distraction to escape from themselves, but the chosen one doesn't have that option. They are taken to a place where they must inevitably face their own inner reflection. At first, this causes turbulence. The mind resists, tries to flee, brings up old resentments. It's an intense process. But once that inner sea settles, a serenity emerges that nothing outside can destroy. This serenity is not the absence of emotion, but mastery. It doesn't mean the chosen one doesn't feel pain. It means they've learned not to be controlled by it. A clear example of this appears in the story of Jesus in the desert. He was alone, vulnerable, exposed to human limitation. Even so, he didn't react impulsively, didn't despair, and didn't give in to temptation. The serenity he demonstrated there was the result of a mind trained in silence, strengthened through solitude. This power manifests in practical ways. When everyone around panics, the chosen observes quietly. When the atmosphere grows tense, they remain centered. When someone tries to provoke them, they are not easily shaken. They know not every battle deserves a response, and that true strength lies in the ability to remain grounded. The tranquil mind is the foundation for all other gifts. Without it, any external storm becomes internal chaos. With it, the chosen learns to navigate through life with steadiness, without losing their center. This serenity is not something imposed. It's earned. It's a deep mark of those who have crossed the inner desert and emerged stronger than when they entered. Power 2. Deep discernment. The chosen develop a discernment that often unsettles those who observe them. It's not a theatrical gift or some exaggerated mystical power. It's a quiet understanding, a fine perception of human intentions, born from years of observing the world without interference, without noise, without illusions. When someone spends a long time alone, they learn to notice details most people ignore. The chosen one perceives when a tone of voice doesn't match the words being spoken. They see when a smile is genuine and when it's just a mask. They feel the energy before hearing the explanation, not because they seek distrust, but because their spirit has learned to pay attention to what truly matters. Jesus demonstrated this many times. The Pharisees praised him, but he always saw the hidden intention behind their words. He knew when someone sought truth and when they sought personal gain. His vision wasn't limited to what lay before his eyes. He saw the heart. The chosen of today carry that same trait. They are not easily impressed. When someone tries to manipulate, they sense it immediately. When something seems too good to be true, they spot the trap before stepping into it. They don't need long explanations. Their inner feeling is enough to know when something is off. That discernment is not judgment. It's protection. It's the spirit warning when something doesn't align with the path God has prepared. That's why many distance themselves from the chosen ones. People who live by appearances have difficulty dealing with someone who sees beyond masks. The chosen one's deep perception is a lamp lit in a world full of shadows. It works as a shield, a guide, and a filter for relationships. Those who possess this gift rarely lose their way, because they recognize deviation even before taking a step. Power 3. Clarity, to decide. One of the greatest signs that someone is being prepared by God in solitude is the emergence of an uncommon clarity when making decisions. While many get lost in others' opinions, the chosen one learns to listen to their own conscience. Solitude makes them stop depending on what others think and start depending on what they know within. When everything around you goes quiet, you begin to hear what you previously ignored. Fears become clearer. Priorities define themselves. Intuition grows stronger. And over time, the chosen one learns to trust that inner voice because it has proven reliable time and again. This clarity arises naturally, not by force. The chosen one simply feels when it's time to close a cycle, move away from someone, change direction, or stand firm. They might not be able to explain it to others, but within them exists a certainty that doesn't waver. This happens because solitude has taught them to distinguish impulse from intuition, emotion from purpose, fear from divine direction. Moses experienced this when he climbed Mount Sinai. He wasn't surrounded by people giving their opinions about what he should do. He was alone, silent, attentive. And it was there, distanced from everything, that he received enough clarity to lead an entire people. What looked like isolation was, in truth, preparation. The chosen learn to decide without hesitation, because they are being molded to lead their own lives. They don't follow the crowd. They follow the calling. Doubt fades because vision grows. Hesitation loses strength because purpose reveals itself. That clarity doesn't mean the chosen one never errs. It means that even when they do, they quickly understand what needs to be adjusted. Their mind works like a compass calibrated by solitude and sustained by faith. Power 4. Pain sensor, empathy that comes from the wound. There's a kind of sensitivity that only awakens in those who have faced their own pain without running from it. The chosen carry this power so deeply that they often perceive another person's suffering before that person even recognizes what they're feeling. It's not something learned from books, nor the result of shallow observation. This gift is born from solitude and from the silent healing that happens away from the world's eyes. When the chosen one was led through long periods of isolation, they were forced to confront emotions that many avoid their entire lives. Deep sadness, difficult memories, old guilt, fears that hurt more than anything external. Enduring all of that made them more human, more conscious, and more sensitive. They learned to recognize the nuances of pain because they had walked through those valleys alone. This power reveals itself in the smallest details. The chosen notice when someone is smiling, but their eyes don't agree. They observe the longer pauses in speech, the involuntary sigh, the dimmed light in someone's gaze. They understand what lies behind harsh actions, interpret silences, identify hidden fears. They don't need anyone to explain. They feel. It's as if their soul developed spiritual antennas capable of picking up signals most people miss. The Bible offers a profound example of this gift in the life of Jesus. Before the woman with the issue of blood even spoke, he already knew who had touched his garment with a heart full of pain. He didn't just see a person in need. He saw her wound, her faith, and offered healing. Jesus perceived human suffering as an inner reality, not an outward behavior. The chosen ones carry that same spiritual reflection. They are not afraid of another's pain because they have learned to live with their own. That's why they are often sought out for confessions, advice, and deep conversations, even by strangers. There's something about them that brings safety. They emanate a presence that says, "I understand," even without saying a word. This power, however, isn't just about feeling. It also guides action. The chosen one knows when to speak and when to remain silent. They sense when someone needs quiet, when they need a firm word, or when they need a simple embrace. This sensitivity does not weaken them. On the contrary, it makes them a bridge between pain and healing. The pain sensor is a gift that distinguishes the chosen from most people. They don't just see people, they see souls. They don't just see behaviors, they see wounds. And by knowing their own pain, they learn to offer what many have never received: true understanding. Power 5. Inner alchemy, transforming solitude into wisdom. While most see solitude as punishment, the chosen treat it as a secret chamber of transformation. They develop the rare ability to take what seems empty and turn it into growth, learning, revelation, and strength. It's as if within them exists a spiritual laboratory, where every pain becomes wisdom, and every silence becomes clarity. From an early age, the chosen one realizes that no one will hold their hand. They must walk on their own, face silence, deal with the absence of support, and learn to be enough. This doesn't make them cold. It awakens them to a profound truth. Everything they seek in the world is already within them. This is the same principle we see in the life of Elijah. When he fled into the desert, he thought he was completely alone. He felt weak, lost, and weary. But it was in that very silence that God sent sustenance, restored his strength, and spoke to him in a gentle voice. Elijah emerged from that period stronger than before. It's the same with the chosen ones. Isolation strengthens them because it creates space for the divine voice to manifest. This alchemical power expresses itself in many ways. The chosen one learns to transform anxiety into prayer. Anxiety arises when the mind tries to take control of what it cannot. The chosen learns to turn this restlessness into prayer, directing every worry toward the divine. Instead of feeding anxious thoughts, they release the weight they've been carrying. Prayer brings order to inner chaos and creates a space of trust where the heart calms and the mind realigns. Thus, what was once anguish becomes spiritual connection. Fear into courage. Fear appears whenever something important is about to change. Instead of running from it, the chosen understands that fear points exactly to where evolution is. They take a deep breath, remember who sustains them, and move forward despite uncertainty. Courage doesn't arrive fully formed. It's born in the act of walking forward in the presence of fear. Thus, fear stops paralyzing and starts fueling their crossing of inner boundaries into new territory. Insecurity into clarity. Insecurity grows when there is too much external noise. Alone, the chosen learns to hear their own essence. They question thoughts, re-examine beliefs, and identify what belongs to them and what comes from others' influence. In this process, confusion begins to clear. A calm clarity emerges, based on inner truth rather than expectation. Insecurity dissolves when they realize they can trust their own vision. Frustration into purpose. Frustration is born from the gap between what was imagined and what actually happens. The chosen learns to look beyond the initial discomfort and sees that every closed door carries a greater intention. They transform "it didn't work" into "where is this leading me?" Thus, frustration stops being an obstacle and becomes propulsion. It's within apparent misalignment that true purpose begins to reveal itself. Loss into direction. Loss dismantles old structures, yet the chosen understands that nothing ends without reason. When something or someone leaves their life, they look at the movement hidden behind the emptiness. Instead of clinging, they ask, "What is this opening for me?" Loss becomes a compass, not a punishment. It points to new paths, redirects steps, and prepares the ground for what truly needs to unfold. They do not allow solitude to destroy them, because they discover it can be their greatest ally. When the external world seems to collapse, the chosen finds stability in the inner one. And the longer they remain in that process, the more they learn to trust their own company. The most remarkable thing is that this transformation is not theoretical. The chosen truly changes. Their posture becomes more confident, their mind clearer, their emotions more balanced. They discover they don't need to be filled by anyone, because they have become whole on their own. And it's precisely for that reason that others seek them out. Inner alchemy creates a light that inspires effortlessly. The chosen's presence calms, guides, and awakens. Their life becomes an example, not because they aim for it, but because their transformation is genuine. The power of inner alchemy is what turns solitude into maturity, pain into perspective, and silence into revelation. It is this power that shapes the chosen for the purpose, awaiting them ahead. Power 6. Strength to bear weights that others cannot carry. Few people understand the spiritual endurance a chosen one possesses. It's not physical strength, nor the mere appearance of courage. It is an inner structure forged by enduring emotional pressures that would destroy most people. The chosen one is placed in situations that demand extreme resilience. And no matter how many times they fall, they always find a way to rise again. This power doesn't come from privilege, but from invisible battles. The chosen go through painful losses, betrayals, forced restarts, and moments of rupture. They live experiences that seem unfair, but which build a kind of maturity impossible to fake. One of the greatest examples of this strength is in the story of Job. He lost his wealth, his health, his children, and his reputation overnight. Any ordinary person would have given up. But Job remained steadfast, even when everything seemed lost. He didn't understand the reason, but he had enough faith to endure the process. And in the end, he was restored double. That's exactly how the chosen live. They go through storms because God trusts that they will endure. The strength of the chosen arises from that very trust. They were molded to withstand what others could not. When life tightens, they do not break. When the burden increases, they find a way to reorganize their spirit. When pushed to the limit, they discover inner reserves they didn't know they had. This strength is not just for them. It exists to serve. The chosen can hold others' chaos, give counsel in times of crisis, be support even when they themselves are weary. They become a reference point, even when no one sees the silent battles they've faced. When everything around them loses balance, the chosen remain standing. Not because they don't feel, but because they've learned that despair builds nothing. They know how to breathe, how to wait, how to trust. Their heart was trained in pain, and therefore became unbreakable. This power distinguishes them from the majority. It prepares them for greater missions, greater responsibilities, greater purposes. Those who can bear more, serve more. And the chosen knows their strength doesn't come only from themselves, but from the divine hand that sustains them, even when no one else sees it. Power 7. Direct connection with origin and purpose. Among all the gifts granted to the chosen, the most profound is the ability to connect directly with their spiritual origin. It's a silent power, almost invisible, yet evident in the way the chosen view life, make decisions, and move through the world. They feel they are not here by chance, that there is a mission accompanying them since before they even understood who they truly were. This power is born from an inner calling that never goes silent. Even when they try to live like everyone else, something inside always pushes them toward a different path. They can't find peace in superficial lives. They can't fit into empty environments. They can't be satisfied with ready-made answers. It's as if there's a quiet but constant voice saying, "There is something greater waiting for you." This awareness follows them from early on, even before spiritual understanding fully forms. Over time, this connection intensifies. Solitude opens space for the chosen to hear what was always there, but suppressed. They begin to notice signs, intuitions, and unexpected guidance that lead them onward. Life stops being random and becomes a sequence of divine invitations. Situations start to make sense. Coincidences turn into messages. Paths appear at the exact moment they are meant to. The Bible shows this clearly in the life of Samuel. As a child, he heard God calling his name, even when he didn't understand it. He needed guidance to learn to recognize that voice. So it is with the chosen. They feel the calling even before they know how to interpret it. But with time, they learn to listen, recognize, and obey. Everything we've talked about so far, the serene mind, the discernment, the clarity, the ability to feel another's pain, the inner alchemy, the strength to bear seemingly impossible weights, and the direct connection with spiritual origin, all form a set of abilities that cannot be acquired in comfortable environments. They are the fruits of secret tears, long nights, unanswered questions, and a faith that had to survive even when everything seemed against it. The chosen one lives what many only talk about. They experience in practice the pain of loss, the pressure of change, and the weight of the calling. They learn to trust when they cannot see, to keep walking when they are tired, and to remain standing when everything within them wants to give up. This inner resilience is the result of a kind of teaching that only God can provide. A silent, individual, and intimate teaching that takes place within the soul. And yet, despite all of this, the chosen one is not someone unreachable. On the contrary, they are profoundly human. They cry, they feel fear, they get confused, they lose direction at times. But something inside them always reignites. It's as if there were a flame that never extinguishes completely, no matter how strong the wind blows. That flame is the spiritual calling, the force that keeps them standing when everything around seems to collapse. The truth is that, while many try to find purpose in the approval of others, the chosen one is guided by something much deeper, an inner alignment that grows in the same measure that they face their challenges. They understand that they are not here to follow the crowd, but to walk along paths no one else has walked before. That makes them appear different, sometimes strange, often misunderstood. And even so, they remain. Each power we discussed does not exist to create superiority. It exists to prepare the chosen for their mission. They were not made to be confined by the world's limited vision. They carry within themselves wider perception, greater sensitivity, and a spiritual responsibility that calls them beyond the ordinary. The gifts only awaken because the purpose requires that they be ready. And as the chosen one matures, they begin to realize something important. Nothing they lost was unfair, nothing they lived was meaningless, and nothing that hurt was wasted. Every part of their story served as a foundation for what is being built now. Solitude did not break them, it shaped them. Pain did not destroy them, it refined them. Waiting did not delay them, it positioned them. Thus, when the chosen one looks at themselves with honesty, they understand that their journey has always had an invisible spiritual logic. They were guided, protected, trained, and awakened for something that is still unfolding. The powers they gained through being alone are not an end in themselves, but tools for what is yet to come. They are no longer who they once were. And that's not a problem. It's proof that the process worked. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, which of these powers do you recognize in your own life? Or if you prefer, share this. Have you lived through a moment of solitude that transformed who you are today? Your experience might help other chosen ones who are also going through this process.